You can build an AI SDR in 5 minutes. Okay. The question if it is going to perform or not.
Fair amount of salespeople, marketing people, account executives all have this view that my job is going away.
The future is that sales going to be focused on the human touch.
Welcome to Spotlight, Entrée's program that highlights key trends and milestones of our portfolio founders and other interesting people in the ecosystem. I'm the managing partner of Entrée Capital. My name is Avi Eyal, and today with me we have Stav Levi, who is the CEO and co-founder of Alta. And my history with Stav goes back many years. And Stav, why don't you shed some light and tell us about yourself to start with?
Thank you. I will. So first of all, I'm Stav. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Alta. I'm actually know Avi for many years, back from my university. When I was in Hebrew University, studied computer engineering and statistics. And later on, I joined Monday.com. I was one of the first employees over there. Built a tool called Big Brain, and was part of the leading people of the growth organization over there. And today with Alta and Entrée Capital portfolio company.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we backed Monday.com at the earliest stage and saw you rise up the ranks and become a product manager and grow tremendously there. And a big privilege to have been able to back you again as you and the team left Monday and started Alta on a new journey. So why don't you tell us a bit about Alta and what you do?
So Alta helps sales team and marketing team enhance their performance, leveraging data and AI. Basically, we help companies boost their revenue engine. Companies have a lot of knowledge and information and data that is not leveraging enough in order to grow and sustainable growth, creating new pipeline for sales and increasing the pipeline and finding missed opportunities.
You know, there's a lot of words there.
Yes.
And let's try and pack it. So you seem to be in the RevOps area. Yeah. And is this something that applies to all companies or just tech companies? And when you say you help leverage and you help grow and you help companies build out their go-to-market success and things like that, how do you do that? What is the real tool? What is the meat of this?
Basically, we have 3 different agents that work best together. We have Katie, which is our AI SDR. We have Alex, which is our AI calling agent. And we have Luna, which is our RevOps, AI RevOps. With Katie, we're doing prospecting and researching and all the outbound work that many SDRs doing today with tons of different tools, because we can automate a lot of these processes of the prospecting, working with a lot of different enrichment tools to bring information about who is the audience you want to target and help you craft the best message in the co-pilot mode or in autopilot mode. And in the end, scale it and send a lot of messages to the right person in the right timing with the right buying intent, and schedule a meeting for you. So in the end, our goals is to create new pipeline and help companies with their sales pipeline.
So it's kind of interesting because a fair amount of SDR and AI, agentic AI companies that we've seen before pretty much start with an agent.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't start there. You started by building a pretty integrated, deep RevOps platform, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why were you thinking that? What was the thinking behind that, and how does that give you an advantage over a number of competitors who exist in the market today?
Yeah. So I think like in the world of today, like with companies like Base 44 and Lovable and Replete, you can build an AI SDR in 5 minutes. Question if it is going to perform or not. The way we're looking at it is that it cannot perform if it doesn't have like what's the best SDR in your company have, which is access to, first of all, knowledge and like best practices, what worked well, what didn't work well. So like a kind of experience from different companies that he had in the past. So this is one thing. And the second is that the company have a good infrastructure that can tell him, you need to target this and this account. We know that those types of industries work best for us, and those type of industries need this type of messaging. So in order to have the best SDR in your company, you need to give him a lot of tools. So this is how we looked at it. Like, we build like this infrastructure of data that can take all the business, the important business data that we can leverage in order to build a really powerful AI SDR that not just demo great, but actually delivers.
Maybe the comparison is Monday.com was extremely successful because they didn't just rely on a CRM. They didn't just rely on AdWords or things like that. They actually built this product called Big Brain, which was really the data and gigabytes and terabytes of data that tracked information and allowed them to make informed decisions. Now, in many companies, it strikes me that they have these tools such as Salesforce and HubSpot and things like that, and then they have their SEO and their AdWords and etc. And now they come and they put an agent and they think this is going to be magic.
Yeah.
And what's really missing is that middle layer that organizes the data and really researches and understands the data in depth, so the agents that then leverage the data can perform. Does that make sense?
Totally. Like, if you think about an agent in the end, so it's just like a model, knowledge, like data, tools, so how we can leverage this data, and task, like what is it oriented to do. And if you will just like use GPT or Claude or whatever model and tell him, write me a good email for this prospect to make it a lead, so he would do a mediocre job because he doesn't have a lot of context and a lot of information. So you will spend around, like, if you're a good SDR, you will spend around 20, 30 minutes to write a good email that eventually maybe no one is even going to open because it wasn't like just the most relevant lead in the most relevant time. There is a few things in order to make it really scalable and like make it actually work for enterprises, that it's first of all going to be with this layer of the organization data that is part and built in this agent. And the second thing is that it's combined in the processes of the companies.
You have dozens of customers today, and what is the results? What is the uplift? What is the feedback that you're getting?
Yeah, so there are a few like huge successes with customers that we're seeing, like meeting booked, and we're generating pipeline for them. And I think like there are places where companies came to us and like, we want to try outbound, and they didn't had outbound before. And then over there, we are kind of learning with them what is the tactics that can work for them. So this is also something we see.
So you're scaling across the organization, and that's your infrastructure layer that allows you to do that. So you're not just dependent, or you're not just a solution for SDR. You can compare your SDR against the existing sales force, and you can get the most out of the existing sales forces.
Not just like for companies that comparing us between existing SDRs and our SDR, but also many companies have kind of tier 2, tier 3 customers or potential customers that they will not speak to because of lower priority. And they want to talk to their tier 1 customers, and they have a certain amount of time. For example, segments that are not their first priority segments.
So they're marginal segments.
Yeah. So what we will help them do over there is like kind of find gold in this dump of leads that they will be very low priority for them. So we can help prioritize this pipeline and actually generate pipeline from it.
So how do you price something like this? Because we're hearing a lot about the world of SaaS and how it's changing, outcome-based pricing, service-based levels, etc. How are you finding that pricing journey?
I think where we are today is not where we're going to be in the future, because today we're pricing it like salary. I also think about like if you think ChatGPT, they're charging you $20 per user like per month, and you using much more sometimes from like it maybe even cost them like much more. So we kind of doing estimations today of what is the cost of booking a meeting for the customer. So for example, we estimated it around like $200 cost per meeting, because this is like better price than what they're paying today for the B2B enterprises that we are talking to. And so we're doing this estimation, and our price is like salary based. But I think in the future, there are going to be two phases. One of them is going to be more on work. So it's going to be work related, like how much task they did. And the future is, of course, in outcome later on. So the amount of outcome that it's generated for you. So, yeah.
When we think about the future of sales, a fair amount of salespeople, marketing people, account executives all have this view that my job is going away, I'm going to be jobless, etc. How do you see the future of AI evolving with these KT agents and other agents as you grow? You're obviously going to grow beyond just 3 agents. So tell us the journey and what it means to the companies and how they should strategize and plan their sales teams and go-to-market teams, and maybe also a word to the salespeople themselves.
Yeah. So first thing, I don't think AI will replace people. Like people with AI will replace people. Like this is the known sentence that I really like. And also when we started this company, we had a clear vision and mission in mind, which is to empower revenue employees with data. This is like what's drive us and what we wake up in the morning for. This is also like my role at Monday was for many years in Big Brain. And even in Intel, before Monday, I did something similar, like to empower revenue teams to become the best version of themselves. And if in Monday we would say like 10x for the revenue, like Big Brain's job is to do 10x for the revenue people, I think now it's like 100x. So it's like, this is like what it can do. And I think like there is no doubt that the world is going to that direction of AI doing a lot of the manual work and not just the easy task and repetitive task, but it also can be sometimes doing like complex job. I think like the future is that sales will going to be focused on the human touch and the selling, like the real sell job, and to be kind of customer advisor. And like the person that walks hand in hand with the customer and help him achieve his goals with the company, the potential customer want to get value from. Explore your ways of how you can get better with AI and the power it can give you, because there is no doubt that the word is going to be there, and if you're not going to do it today, someone else is going to take your job tomorrow by doing it.
So does Alta use its own agents?
Yes, we are our best customers of ourselves. Actually, like we had 2 customers that gain above us from like the heavy usage, but we use a lot Alta in order to improve our sales processes.
Right. So most of our viewers are founders like yourself, and it may make sense to maybe give 3 or 4 points of your journey of what key pieces of advice that you as a founder would recommend to other founders who are listening to this.
Yes. So I think number 1 is your partners, your team, your partners to the way. And your team is not just like the co-founders that with you, it's also the board members, the VCs that is back to you, the founding team, the first employees that you are bringing. This is the most important asset that the company have, is the team that work like working together. I think that in the world of today, kind of being obsessed about AI usage in the company for internal processes, for like. Maybe in the past we were kind of, I don't know, in Monday we had, we were really obsessed about data usage in the beginning of the way. Also later on, like every decision being made which data is backing it, and so I think this is kind of the obvious thing maybe for me, like that we have to do. But I think so. The second thing is to be very obsessed about the usage of AI in internal processes. Third bullet is if you can, because it's not always the case, use your own tool. Also, back in Monday and here, we were heavily users of what we did, like dog fooding. Very important, because then you're much more have more empathy for the pain of the customer, because you felt this pain yourself. So it's if you can, use your own tools as much as you can.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Stav, thank you very much for being on the Spotlight show.
Thank you.
And wish you all the best.
Thank you.